Whether you operate one forklift or thousands, one location or hundreds, the new My Toyota customer portal can help you optimize your operation and material handling equipment. This one-stop, free-to-use platform is designed to help you take control of your information and make smarter decisions, all at the touch of a button. Register and access your data today at my.toyotaforklift.com. That's my.toyotaforklift.com.
Today's warehouse needs to keep inventory moving smoothly and quickly. Meet these challenges with on-demand warehouse labeling from Brother Mobile Solutions. Our mobile and industrial printers will help optimize your operations to achieve the speed, reliability, and durability your warehouse needs. With easy integration for existing warehouse technology, convenient portability, and upfront affordability, Brother Mobile Solutions is at your side when it comes to warehouse labeling. Try one for free today by visiting brothermobilesolutions.com/new warehouse or click the link in the show notes. That's brothermobilesolutions.com/new warehouse to try one for free today.
The New Warehouse Podcast, hosted by Kevin Lawton, is your source for insights and ideas from the distribution, transportation, and logistics industry. A new episode every Monday morning brings you the latest from industry experts and thought leaders. And now, here's Kevin.
Hey, it's Kevin Lawton with the New Warehouse Podcast here at ProMat 2023, Day 1. We're here in the booth. I'm joined by CEO of Toyota Material Handling North America, Brett Wood. He's going to talk to us a little bit about his thoughts here a little early in the show, but his thoughts on ProMat. And we're also going to talk about a very special project that I think is really exciting and interesting for the industry that he's partaking on. I'll let him give all the details on that at Cornell University. But first, Brett, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Great. Thank you, Kevin. Great to be here. Great to see you again. And thanks for having me.
Definitely. Always happy to have you on the show, especially in person and coming to the booth here. Definitely great to talk to you and get some of your insights on the industry and things that are going on, not only with Toyota, but just the industry as a whole. So tell us a little bit about, I guess, like you said, we're day one here at ProMat, so a little early to get a full read on the show. But tell us a little bit about what you're kind of just seeing, first impressions here at the show.
Yeah, great. It's great to be here back at ProMat in Chicago. Face-to-face after COVID and trying our first virtual ProMat show 2 years ago. You know, the show's every 2 years.
Yeah.
And I was MHI chairman at the time, and that was a big decision to make, but it was the right decision.
Yeah.
I think for sure. And then we learned a lot from that. You know, now there's a lot of digital information that can be shared with customers, with end users, with other companies that we never had that technology before. Now It's a lot easier to share that information and get out to even a broader audience. But it's even better to be face-to-face.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I think we're expecting over 50,000 total attendees and breaking a record for this year. Already broke a record for the number of exhibitors. Yeah. So my first reaction so far is just how exciting it is to see so many exhibitors here. Matter of fact, the halls have been expanded to handle.
Yeah, we're in the expansion here.
In the new expansion, different area. And I think there was even a wait list for some of the booths.
Wow.
So it's great to see the exhibitors and the companies want to be back.
Yeah.
And to be back in a trade show like this and to be face-to-face with customers, suppliers, partners, and so forth. So I can feel a good energy already so far. It's only been a couple hours into the show.
Right.
Some of the things that I've noticed so far, just walking through it for sure, is a lot more automation.
Oh, yeah.
And years ago, everywhere. And automation, a lot of different forms. Automatic guided vehicles, automatic guided carts, automatic guided forklifts. I'm kind of interested also in the semi-automated type of vehicles from a forklift point of view, where a customer could on and off of a forklift. You know, they could drive it when they need to, and then maybe have it automated when it's best for their efficiency in their warehouse and so forth. So it's great to see a lot of companies getting into this type of space and pushing everyone else into some new technology that is hopefully going to make customers more efficient.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the name of the game, right? Increase efficiency, and certainly when we were at Modex, I think we talked as well.
Right.
The big thing there was the labor shortage, right? People were trying to figure out how do they cover this labor shortage, and it seems like a lot of, like you said, there's tons of automation here. I mean, everywhere you look, there's some type of automation going on at the show. But obviously, there's been a lot of people that have come to try and cover that shortage and that gap and make things happen. But you mentioned the semi-autonomous there, so I'm a little curious about that. I mean, are you seeing? I mean, I've seen some solutions out there that are like that, like you mentioned. But are you seeing that customers are having more demand for kind of that almost like, I guess, hybrid solution, right?
Yeah, demand, but I guess I would say maybe even our company is looking at as a potential solution for certain types of customers.
Right.
So you mentioned labor shortage.
Yes.
And that's huge throughout our country. And so let's just say during the daytime, they've got laborers and forklift drivers.
Right.
Okay, so they could use a forklift during the day. But at night, if they want to run a second shift and they don't have the labor to help them, maybe that could be an automated process. So the same type of operation on a second or third shift or running through the night could possibly be then automated at that time. And not have two different vehicles.
Yeah, exactly.
So have the same vehicle during the day and at night. So that's just a possible consideration for depending on your application and your warehouse needs and how many how your labor manpower situation is.
Yeah. I think it's a really interesting point too about not having two trucks. Then like you're almost taking like one truck and making it into one because you have the flexibility of, like you said, like at maybe a certain task is better to be automated in your operation, and then there's maybe a different task that maybe you need a skilled operator to handle, and you can bounce back and forth between that, but with the same machine, like you said, which makes a ton of sense. So it was really interesting, and interested to see kind of how that evolves too, and how those things look. But I think another thing that when we look at the labor shortage, right? I mean, part of it is just getting people, I think, interested in the industry at a younger age, and some of the newer generations, right? As like some of the older generations start to retire and move on to other things, there's kind of a gap in a sense, right? And the new warehouse, we're trying to bring more attention to the warehouse, make it cooler or sexier in a sense.
You're doing a good job of that, by the way.
Thank you.
Very good.
But you guys recently, and you kind of championed this project for Toyota in partnership with Cornell, really kind of gave this great exposure to some students on the forklift side. So tell us a little bit about this project that you worked on. Okay,
yeah, great. So there's a Forklift Learning Studio that was just launched recently. The world's first Forklift Learning Studio. And I'll give you a little bit of the history of that. So I was meeting with some Cornell University professors in their engineering department, and we were talking about ways that they could help their students learn more about engineering principles, but in a way use existing products in the world.
Right.
Very, very creative thought process, actually. Former mechanical engineer a long time ago, and I wish I had something like that. It was very theoretical when I went to school. And so I sat down with a professor, Brian Kirby, at Cornell, and we were having coffee, and he was kind of pitching an idea to me, pretty casually, saying, I'd like to teach our students some principles in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I'd like to take them to this studio or laboratory type environment and work on an engine and actually see some of the engineering principles in this engine. Okay, and so I said, wow, that sounds great. I'm interested. Maybe we'll donate an engine, and get you going on that. And then we had another cup of coffee, and I started thinking about 30 minutes later, what about a forklift? What if more than just an engine? And you think about engineering principles and with the fluids and thermodynamics and hydraulics and the laws of physics and engines and motors, and forklifts have batteries and electronics and now a lot of sensors and sometimes even mini computers inside these forklifts. And his eyes got big and he said, yeah, that's a good idea. And I said, okay, I'm interested. Let's see what we can do. And so definitely a really great idea from the Cornell team. and Professor Kirby and David Erickson spearheaded it. And I said, let's see what we can do. So we talked about it. Great concept. I said, okay, we'll donate 3 forklifts. One engine-powered one, so you can see the internal combustion of an engine working. Right. And then another one would be electric-powered. And that's an important trend in our industry, going more electric than engine-powered. And then I said, and we'll try to get you a third one, too, that you could use. So it took about 18 months ago is when it all kind of started. So it's last summer, a big project putting together. So I had some meetings in New York near Cornell in the summer. Thought I'd stop by, see how the learning studio was going, and see what they were working on just for a couple hours. And they showed me the 2 forklifts. The engine one was actually on a dynamometer and spinning. You know, the tires are spinning, the engine's running, and it's stationary and very safe. And that was exciting. You know, the students were, really enjoying that. Right. And then the electric one was in their studio, and they were taking readings off of that, especially off of the mast and the hydraulics of a mast. I said, "Where's the third forklift?" Yeah. "Oh, we'll take you down to the basement and show you that." And I said, "Okay." Okay. So we go down in this basement area, and they opened the door, and it was 4 female engineers. It's great to see that, mechanical engineers. And their arms were covered in grease and dirt, and fingers and hands were all dirty, and big smiles on their face. And here's your third forklift, and it was in about 1,000 pieces on the ground.
They totally deconstructed it.
Totally took it all apart. Wow. And they were having the time of their life. Yeah. They were just loving it. And I said, "Wow, this is great. Did my team send you manuals? How did you know to do all this?" I said, "No, we just started taking things apart, and one thing led to another." And they learned so much about tools, components, why things are connected certain ways, why things are bolted, why things are welded. Yeah. And that was mission accomplished right there at that point. Right. On just seeing them learning so much just from a product that's used every day. And so that was a nice moment. I knew at that point that the Cornell team had something really special to teach the students. As a matter of fact, the 4 of them, the girls were asking me, "So, Mr. Wood, why did you bend this curve here? Right. And why is this bolted or not? Well, why is it cut at that angle?" And they caught me off guard. I said, "I used to be an engineer, but I've been demoted to CEO. So I'm going to have to get you answers to some of those questions." And we did. And it was just launched March 1st. Okay. Yeah. The little kickoff ceremony. And the vision is wonderful. I think what makes it unique, a couple things. One, there's a lot of different classes that can go to this studio and use the tools that a mechanic would use to work on parts of the truck systems. Right. So it doesn't have to be one class. It could, and there's about 5 or 6 or 7 different types of classes that could relate to using this product. The second thing is that it's not just for sophomores. It's sophomores, juniors. It's not just for seniors. Right. It's sophomores, juniors, and seniors can interact together and learn from each other, mentor maybe the younger ones. And I found that really interesting. I didn't have that experience when I went to school. Yeah. And I think they're enjoying that also. And right now it looks like something at Cornell that might lead to other learning studios besides just forklifts. Oh, okay. Well, you could say you were the first. That's a great thing. True. Right? The world's first. Yeah. Forklift Learning Studio. I mean, it's an incredible thing and an incredible project for you to roll this out and be so supportive of it. So I mean, it's kudos to you for making it happen with Cornell. But I think it's so great to be able to give, like you said, those experiences. Like you said, I wish I could have done this when I was in school, right? And I felt the same way about other things that I've learned about at my alma mater that they do now. I'm like, where was that when I was there, right? And you're teaching there too, right? That's true. Yeah, I teach there as well. So I hear about it even sooner than maybe as a regular alumni would. But yeah, I mean, it's a great thing to give those students that experience, and I think that's how you get students interested in an industry, is like give them that hands-on experience, because a lot of times I think students they just didn't get exposed to that part of something, and they just don't go down that path because maybe they don't even know it's there, right? So I'm curious, how are students feeling about
the forklift world, I guess you could say, like after the studio's been in place?
Well, it's new.
It is new.
So,
I know you said that.
So we're in the honeymoon phase right now, for sure. But the thought process is just like you're saying. So I've given a few speeches at several universities around the country, and just one of my mission is to introduce the material handling industry to young students. And to your point. So, a matter of fact, I'll say at the beginning of my speech, so I know all of you want to work for Google and Amazon. But let me tell you about another industry that's kind of interesting, especially from an engineering point of view, perhaps. And then we'll talk about forklifts or material handling or conveyors or robots or autonomous vehicles. You know, and I can see afterwards people come up to me and ask a lot of good questions about our industry that they didn't even think of before. And they'll admit it. And, you know, that our industry is now, the forklift industry is now 65% electric. Around 70% of it. That's huge. You know, so the electric technology is growing. It'll be 80-20 for sure in 5 to 10 years. So that technology brings some interesting, you know, ideas, engineering principles about batteries, about chargers, you know, and obviously making forklifts more efficient. But it's been fun to see the students get exposed to, first of all, you know, a forklift touches everything you own, you eat, you buy, you drink, and it's a huge element of our global supply chain. And when you start looking at it that way, you start to see the importance. I mean, last year our industry sold 330,000 forklifts in North America, and it was well over 2 million around the world. And we build over 200 a day. We build a forklift every 3 minutes. You know, and that surprises a lot of people. And you know, people view forklifts in a lot of different ways. I look at a forklift as a solution for a customer to help support perhaps the global supply chain, to help support what they do. And it's a solution. Our 5,000 Toyota and Raymond employees that work in a factory, they see a forklift as a lot of components coming together, and at the end a vehicle runs off the assembly line in about 3 or 4 minutes. It's pretty interesting. There's 4 million people that drive a forklift every day. There's 4 million people in the U.S. that are forklift operators. They see a forklift as their office. You know, that's their office. So we have to, you know, design comfortable chairs, good visibility, low vibration, low noise level, you know, to make the operator feel. But that's a lot of people that driving a forklift. There's about 5,000 Toyota and Raymond mechanics that work on a forklift every single day. They see a forklift as a problem that needs solving. And then now I meet these Cornell professors, like Brian Kirby, and he sees a forklift as an engineering learning tool. You know, and to show, you know, back to this learning studio, to show students a way to learn about engineering principles, but then get exposed to a product in an industry that they maybe didn't even think about before.
We'll be back after a quick break.
You hear a lot about supply chains these days, because if the past couple years have taught us anything, it's that an efficient, well-managed supply chain is absolutely critical to keeping businesses successful and consumers happy. I'm Will Haywood, and I host a podcast called All Business, No Boundaries, where we talk about supply chains, how they work, what happens when they don't, and the innovations that are redefining what's possible in the world of logistics. Join me for insightful interviews with thought leaders and industry experts. We discuss how optimizing supply chains can break down the barriers that are holding businesses back. That's All Business, No Boundaries by DHL Supply Chain. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Step, step, step. Do you know how many steps your warehouse workers are taking a day? When your workers are walking, you're losing money. Endless trips to the printer or computer add up fast. Newcastle's mobile industrial carts with integrated power eliminate the walking to stationary printers and computers, keeping workers focused on high-value tasks, often doubling their output. Thousands of powered cart installations, including ones at the new warehouse's own micro-fulfillment center and in my previous jobs, prove that Newcastle customers get more done and save money. To learn more, head to newcastlesys.com. That's newcastlesys.com. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, you just laid it out there, but especially interesting. We had a conversation prior to us starting recording, but we were talking about how people, especially maybe students that have just never had exposure to the supply chain or warehousing in general. It's not much thought as a regular consumer to think about. What's everything that goes into getting that box on my front step, right? When I order something, or all these things that make everything move, right? Which is our industry. We make things move, basically, right? So I mean, it's fantastic that you're able to get these experiences and opportunities to give that exposure to students and generations that are coming up. And I'm curious, from your perspective, do you see that by having things like this learning studio or other opportunities to give exposure to students, to our industry, I mean, do you think that's going to drive the innovation for like our next generation of automation or forklifts, robotics, whatever the case may be? I mean, do you think that's just going to pump it up more?
I think so, and I've got a small, quick example. It's not quite there yet, but because of the Forklift Learning Studio at Cornell, I had another professor I never met reach out to me and share with me their idea on robotic automation.
Interesting.
Yeah, okay. And I think they had this technology or product in their mind, or they were playing around with it.
Right.
And they didn't think that it could be used in a warehouse situation.
Interesting.
And even a couple of years ago, I remember meeting someone who came up with a robot that could assemble an IKEA chair or a table.
Okay. Yeah. I think a lot of people would like that.
It's a concept.
Yeah.
But then he started talking to me about, well, maybe, I said, this could be used in other industries.
Yeah.
Picking and and identifying pieces and identifying product, and but maybe even in the manufacturing industry too. So I think there is like a side spin-off or benefit from this exposure that'll lead to probably some new technology, new ideas.
Yeah.
And we've got at the Learning Studio at Cornell, there's a lot of smart students looking at a forklift every day. You never know what'll come out of that.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunity there, and I think, like you said too, I mean, I think the key point, it generates this curiosity, and like from the curiosity, that's typically where we see these ideas and this innovation come from, right? And so you're giving them the opportunity to, like you said, ask the question why. Why is this bent this way? Why is this welded versus bolted on or something like that? That curiosity can lead them to think in different ways. About anything. I mean, not necessarily a forklift, but they could take the idea of something that they see engineered into the Toyota forklift and think about like, oh, what if we did something like that for like a robot, like you said,
or a piece of farm equipment, or anything. Anything. That you're right. The minds are great. As a matter of fact, Kevin, you really identified a great idea. We have on the wall in this learning studio a quote from Mr. Toyota. Okay. It says, "Making things is about making people."
Interesting. Okay.
And so the spirit of continuous improvement, Kaizen, and learning and wanting to expand, your mind. But we do in our culture, in corporate culture, we do feel like a lot of it's all about the people, and it's important to make sure that people grow. Then underneath that, we have a quote from Ezra Cornell. Okay, and it says he wants to found an institution where anyone can find any study. And like so they were both said around the same time, the late 1890s.
Oh, really? Wow.
Is that interesting?
Yeah.
Early 1900s, and they're both alive for about 7 years at the same time.
Yeah.
But they were both ahead of their times, I think.
Right.
100 years ago,
It still stands.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the parallels were we thought interesting enough that we put it up on the wall in this learning studio. And Ezra Cornell was ahead of his time, just trying to find a university that was diverse.
Yeah.
And diverse minds, like you're saying, thinking about all different ways to grow yourself, to grow your community, to grow your country, and that's another reason why Toyota wanted to be part of that project. It's important to us to be a good corporate citizen wherever we work, and that's one of our core values. And a lot of people think being a good corporate citizen is about charity and donations, and it is, which is wonderful. But there's an element to it too that I think we should focus on, and that's being a good corporate citizen in the community that you're in to help the community grow and to help the people grow. And I think in our country, so we see this as an opportunity to help our country's young minds develop and get stronger and ask a lot of questions and just make the future engineers of our country even better than they are today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's, I mean, as a parent too, I understand that one, because you're like, I need to give better opportunities to the next generations. And I think looking at that as a whole, like you said, we need to be able to do that and bring the next generations into our industry, or at least give them the chance to potentially come into the industry and know about it and expand. Because I think, like we talked about today, there's a multitude of opportunities within our industry and things going on. There's just so many avenues that someone could go, and so many avenues that are really interesting when you break everything down. So it's really amazing, and I mean, it's a beautiful thing what you've done with this learning studio, and I can't wait to see kind of what these generations coming out of the learning studio are going to bring to our industry or other industries. And it's just going to be, I think, pretty amazing to see the benefits and the results from that.
Yeah, thank you. You can tell I'm excited too. And I think there's a couple more students now that think forklifts might be cool than they did a year ago.
Yeah. One at a time, right?
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
So
it's been great talking to you again, Brett, here at ProMat, and great learning about this Forklift Learning Studio, first in the world, I guess.
Thank you.
I guess first in the galaxy too. You could say, right?
Yeah, I like that. So you're good marketing.
So it's great to talk to you, and if people are interested in learning more about what you guys are doing, how can they do that?
Probably go to our Toyota Forklift website.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll have we had a press release go out, and it'll be on there. And matter of fact, we just finished a little video clip. It's about 2 to 3 minutes long.
It's a great video.
Yeah, you were the first person to see it.
Yeah.
And we'll put that on our website too shortly, so they can check that out. And generally though, I feel really good about our industry.
Yeah,
I really do. Our industry is strong. It's healthy. The last couple of years, the numbers have been really strong. There's been a pent-up demand, perhaps.
Right.
But at the same time, it's a healthy industry. And forklifts are part of the material handling industry. Both are doing well. There's a lot of excitement with the technology. You see it at the trade show here at ProMat.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's new technology coming out every year, and it's not a stagnant industry.
Yeah.
It's pretty dynamic. And I encourage a lot of young people that maybe didn't think about getting into the warehouse industry or to just take a look at. They might find it kind of more exciting than they thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would encourage them too. I never planned to go into warehousing, but here I am with the Warehouse Podcast. So there's a lot of cool stuff.
Same for me. I never thought I'd be in forklifts, and 33 years later, here I am.
There you are, right? All right, so it's been great talking to you, Brett, and thank you for coming by the booth and talking to us at ProMat this year. We'll definitely put more information about Toyota at thenewwarehouse.com, as well as that great video that you shared with me too.
Sounds good. Thank you for everything that you're doing to making warehouses interesting.
Thank you.
All right. Good talking to you.
You've been listening to the New Warehouse Podcast with Kevin Lawton. Subscribe and check us out online at thenewwarehouse.com.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want more content from the New Warehouse, check out our new video series called All Hands on LinkedIn. Just search for the New Warehouse on LinkedIn and follow along.